Hello.
And welcome to
the Champagne Room Secrets Podcast. The podcast where two hilarious sex workers give you a peek behind the curtain of the adult industry through personal anecdotes, content analysis, and sometimes interviews.
Wow.
I am Candi / Barbie / Satine.
Honestly, a little bit.
I thought I had a red wig, but I think I gave it away.
I'm Jean Valjean.
No!
I'm Kitty.
And we are so excited to talk about some movies today.
Musical movies.
Some films.
Look, we went to the cinema and we're bringing it straight to you.
It's Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I made a cute little Valentine's Day cocktail.
Cheers.
I put little edible glitter in it, but you can't really see it.
I don't know. Can you?
I tried. I don't know. Shout out to the Trader Joe's new red juice. Love it. We love Joe. I think like a little bit of gin and Saint Germain. That's why it's so sweet because I put Saint Germain in it.
Well, we've been talking about
and club soda. And we don't have to actually eat this, but I did get us a little Trader Joe's.
Love.
I wish it was pink. It's a chocolate mousse cake.
Wow.
This is a little messy, but that's okay. Oh, it's actually good. Let's get into these movies.
Well, do you have a secret?
Oh, okay. So I kind of thought, it's not like a secret. I think you actually know this, but I do have a secret that's related to one of these movies. So the first time I saw Moulin Rouge, I was like 15. A friend from my biology class in high school lent me her DVD. We were talking about movies or something. And then I was like, oh, I never heard of Moulin Rouge. And she's like, you have to watch it. I'm going to bring you my DVD. And I was like, okay, dope. And so I plugged that sucker into my computer and I just sat there transfixed the whole movie. I was like, because the first 20 minutes of Moulin Rouge is like, if you had never seen a movie like that, you're like, what? They're just allowed to do that? Like, what's going on? It's crazy. It's just like super psychedelic and things are just happening and like the effects and the way that they shoot it sometimes, like it moves at like a weird frame rate. Like, yeah, it's just so fucking bonkers. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? And then at the end of the movie, I am just sobbing. This is the one time I've ever cried when I was 15.
Is that the secret? It's the one time you've ever cried.
Yeah,
that's
watching Moulin Rouge. Anyways, I was like, oh, okay, so this whole movie is my personality now.
Yeah, I could tell.
I love France. I love showgirls. I'm gonna do burlesque. Like, hey. I'm gonna be a sex worker.
You're gonna be a fucking drama queen. Die of consumption.
I'm gonna die of consumption. This might be hard for a lot of people to believe. I did do some student government in high school in order to like get involved and like, I don't know, make friends. And I didn't like really care. And I feel like I still was like a weirdo, but I decided I really wanted to be the lead of the prom committee. The juniors would put on prom for the juniors and seniors. We only had one prom. And somehow I convinced my committee and everyone else who's funding this to make our prom Moulin Rouge themed.
See, that's insane.
It's crazy. I'm like, did no one know what that was? I'm like, my mom, she made like a paper mache elephant head that we put up.
Wow.
We had our friends build a windmill and like paint it. And like, I like hand painted all these like old posters. I like blew them up. These Moulin Rouge posters, me and my friend like painted them. It was all French themed.
And this movie was like kind of old when you were hitting prom times.
So this was 2010.
Weird.
And I gave a good sales pitch and people voted for it. And our prom was based off of a place where sex workers would dance and do cans and like meet clients. And I don't think it was like a full brothel, but it was very like vulgar. And I mean, I think it eventually like cleaned its act up and it was like more can and stuff, but still. And like the idea of the prom in my head was very much like the movie. It was like come what may at the Moulin Rouge. That was the theme. Because it's all about like love and this and like.
It's super romantic.
It's very romantic. And I just thought it was like, I think the other thing we were voting on was like black and a white ball or like.
That's so boring.
Right. Like all the themes are boring. And I was like, no, it's like, I want like hearts and like French and like theatrical. And like, I was like 15 and I was like, This is what we need. It's not like a big secret, but that's
You've
my
cried
thing.
one time, and
I've cried one time. It was the end of Moulin Rouge when I was 15, and then I decided to make an entire
life based off
prom
of it.
around it, and then an entire life based around it. That's how much that movie
you.
hit me to my core when I was younger.
See, that's really funny because my secret also involved crying about one of the movies. I cried this morning during.
Wait. Okay, what's your champagne secret?
That's my champagne secret. Is that I cried this morning.
What part? Tell me. Tell me.
During Best Little Whorehouse when she sang "And I Will Always Love You."
Did you cry?
I cried this morning.
I started to tear up.
I don't know, dude. That song gets me really good.
I'm so glad you said that because
anytime someone sings that well, it hits me so hard.
Because that is her song originally. Like, I kept hearing it like in the background of the movie. Like, they would like put some of the chords into the background music, and then like when I felt it coming on, I was like,
I couldn't do it.
I was like, Dolly, no. And I never cried.
And she's just so sweet. Cool. Same page. Like, it's been an emotional day.
So I have seen Moulin Rouge probably 15 times, but I was like, let me like rewatch it. I skipped it through. But,
yeah, you knew enough.
I had never seen the best little whorehouse in Texas.
Yeah, it's the best one.
I kept saying the best or the littlest. All right, I think we should talk about Moulin Rouge first.
Wait, can we tell them what we're doing?
No.
We decided to do another movie episode, something fun and silly, and accidentally musical. At least to me, I didn't realize both were musicals.
I knew that.
We're comparing Moulin Rouge from 2001, movie only, not talking stage.
I'll probably drip in some details about the stage.
You'll dribble. And The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas from 1982.
Best Little Whorehouse in Texas was based on a stage play musical, and then Moulin Rouge was a 2001 movie musical, a jukebox musical that a few years ago, I don't know the year, but got made into a Broadway show. So it's a bit of a opposite.
A flipperoonie.
Yeah, a bit of a flipperoonie.
But it's also kind of based off of
it's based off
opera.
Right. Shall we jump in?
You want to give us some background on Moulin Rouge, the basis of your life story?
Moulin Rouge, made in 2001, made by Baz Luhrmann, who loves men.
And he loves to make you dizzy.
He likes stories of men who need like a woman to like give their life meaning, but then who gives a fuck about the woman?
He loves a man yearning, right? Like R&J, yearning. Great group grabbers.
Am I having a stroke?
Great Gatsby is yearning.
The Elvis movie. That's what I was thinking of when I said he loves men who, I don't use women as the right term, but I mean, also Elvis is based off of a true story. So Elvis truly did those things.
I'm mad at Elvis, not at Baz.
But like, did that story need to be told the way it was told? I'm sorry. I'm canceling Elvis.
Sorry.
Hack.
Out of here.
Stole his music from black people.
And stole a child. This is not about Elvis. This is not about anyone involved in Elvis.
I'm sorry. I got on a tangent on Baz Luhrmann. Okay. So basically, I saw this movie when I was 15. It was the best thing I ever saw. And I see it today, and I'm like, you know what? It's just okay. Besides El Tango de Roxanne, that musical number is the slappiest piece of cinema I think ever. Like, something about that 5 minutes, like, it just hits so fucking good every time.
Felt like 50, but yes.
You don't like it?
The music is incredible. The choreo is super fun. It just felt so long. Everything felt so fucking long. But that
I eat it
today it felt long.
Okay, so I didn't really give you much background on the movie. I'm just going to read a quick wiki as I do. Moulin Rouge is a 2001 jukebox musical romantic drama film directed, produced, and co-written by Baz Luhrmann. It stars Nicole Kidman, Ewan McGregor, other people.
Those guys.
I mean, like, you watch it, and like I would say, like, the first 20 minutes is like a drug trip, and then after that, it kind of settles, and like it's a nice romance. I think now my experience of the world is kind of like made me not as big of a fan of it.
Oh, you're like more grown up now than when you were 15.
Surprise. I do feel like the more I think about it and the more I see it, the more I don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically the movie, they follow, the main character is Christian, played by Ewan McGregor. He moves to Paris from London, and it's like unclear if he even is an artist. He's just kind of like, I want to be an artist.
Yeah, he's like, I want to be a writer.
And then it's like, okay, well, like, what have you written? Like, nothing. He's like, I want to write about love. But he's like, wait a second, I've never been in love, but I want to write about it. And he just moves. I don't know, to me, like, he seems kind of like uppity, and then he moves because he's like, I want to be like a bohemian artist. And like,
No, he seems like a dime a dozen kind of guy.
yeah. He just like wants to be artistic and cool, but I'm like, but like, are you actually that? Like, I don't think you are.
Daddy says no, so I'm gonna go be in Paris.
Yeah, and so then he goes to Paris and kind of like falls into the situation where this like theater troupe is trying to come up with a new play to get funded, and someone falls through a ceiling, and then he ends up like singing, and they're like, oh my God. And I will say, Ewan McGregor is very hot and talented. Like,
he did well. Yeah, I was pleased.
If it was not for him, I would not like the character Christian at all. I was like, I did not like the character Christian in the musical. I think because it wasn't Ewan McGregor. I was like, wait a second. And so basically there's kind of like, what would you call like a comedy of errors, where they go to the Moulin Rouge because it's like, okay, Toulouse-Lautrec, who's based off of a real artist, who's like him and Harold Zidler like did the Moulin Rouge back in the Moulin Rouge days. Like they were like doing it. So it's like a little historical kind of. So Toulouse-Lautrec is like, I'm gonna like get you a meeting with the star of the show. Her name is Satine, played by Nicole Kidman, and you're gonna like tell her this story that he did not come up with.
He did not write it yet.
He didn't write it. He came up with one line. And so basically Satine is the star of the Moulin Rouge, the can cabaret kind of show. She's also like a high-end courtesan. So are a lot of the dancers, like a high-end escort.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Full service.
Yeah, like a full service sex worker. Like whore is like very much like a slur and like very low class, and this is like very high class. Like
it's very
star of the show,
old timey. Like courtesan is from like Shakespearean times.
Right. So she trades her company with men for money and help and all these things, and like her and Harold Zidler, who's like the director and her kind of like mentor / like father figure, which is also very gross. I have a lot of thoughts about him as well.
It's like not an even business partnership, but like he's kind of like her manager,
but he acts like her father,
like
kind of
pimp adjacent.
Yeah,
because
I would
he's
say
using
he is.
her to get funding for their theater.
Yeah. So there's like a duke in town who has like money, and they're like, okay, we want to like corner this duke, Satine, you go have sex with him, and then he's gonna like love you, and then he's gonna want to fund turning the Moulin Rouge into an actual theater, because like we want to do some real art. Like we don't want to just be like body can dancers. And so basically there's like this comedy of errors where Toulouse-Lautrec's like, okay, Christian, like you need to meet with Satine and like tell her about our play. And so Christian and Satine end up meeting, and it's very funny. Like I do genuinely like that part. Like I love this like earlier part of the movie where it's just like silly, and they're like, what's going on? And they're like, what's happening with Christian and Satine? Ostensibly they fall in love, which is stupid. Also like Satine is like, yo, like I need to go fuck this duke because I actually like want to live my dreams. And Christian's like, but please love me, please, but true love. And she's like, I'm a prostitute, like get over it. And he's like, but please. And she's like, oh my God, fine. He wears her down.
Yeah,
he does sing to her, and he does have a lovely voice. And he does sing, I'll always love you.
I know.
I do like how that's in both of the movies we're doing.
It does not hit the same.
It doesn't hit the same.
Personally.
No, but it's sweet. I do love the elephant love medley.
I think it was cute.
Eventually, Satine needs to fuck the Duke because the Duke is like, I actually want to fund this weird little story that Christian did not come up with. The other artist, the bohemian artist, came up with it. But then he's like, you know what? You're hot. This is a fun idea. Let me like put a bunch of money into this. But it's like in my contract that Satine belongs to me, and like only I can have sex with her. And Harold just is like, okay.
Yeah, business daddy was like,
sure,
I'll sign her shit away.
Yeah.
Like he hands over essentially the
deed to the
Moulin Rouge building.
Yeah.
And the deed to Miss Girl.
Right.
Which is crazy.
Meanwhile, Satine has consumption, aka tuberculosis.
She's doing the classic, like you cough into like a cloth, and then you pull away and there's blood. It's like, how do you show someone sick on camera? That's like the only way.
We know at the beginning of the movie, spoilers, we know she's gonna die at the end. No one tells her she's gonna die
until it's like pretty much
until she's like 5 minutes from fucking dying, but okay. And so the whole thing is like a love story between them. And you know, first she's like, Christian, like you're gonna get really jealous, like I'm gonna have to fuck this duke. Like
she's so fucking real with him.
She is so real with him.
She's so real with him, saying like, you're gonna get jealous and it's gonna drive you crazy. And he's like, no.
He's like, no, it won't.
And then 5 seconds later,
he's like, I'm jealous.
He's losing it. He's so violent. I was surprised with how violent it was, to be honest.
He is really kind of a piece of shit. He doesn't say this, but his attitude is like, these men don't own you. Like, you need to be in love and be true. But I'm like, yeah, but like, you're acting like you own her. You're just using love.
She's working. Also, she's funding your shit.
Yeah.
She's funding your dream. And
then they just give him the job of writing this fucking musical, Spectacular. Where's his resume? He hasn't written anything. And then, oh, you're the head writer because you just fell into this situation. Meanwhile, Satine working her ass off, fucking her ass off. She's like, I want to be a fucking actress and do this play. And Christian's like, no, but love. And it's just like, it's so saccharine and stupid. And you're like, I get it. It's like a love story. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm just so disenchanted.
You're over it. You're over the love part.
I'm kind of over it.
What I do fucking love is like, she's a courtesan. She is a sex worker. And she is also seen as a fucking star.
Yeah.
And I feel like we know so many people who, in order to like fund their art, do sex work, or they just do both because they enjoy doing both. And like that's so fucking real. And I love that. I love that she was beautiful and glamorous and respected.
Right, because like it doesn't seem like she has like a big issue with being a sex worker.
No,
like everyone else has an issue with it.
She seems like she's good at her job.
She seems like
she kind of likes it.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, you know, like I convince men that I'm in love with them for a job. She's like, but I want to be an actress, but like also I do this other thing, and like that's fine. Like, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. That's what you do sometimes to make art. He's a little bitch. And it's like, oh, you love the bohemian lifestyle, but not when women live it.
Tea.
Sir. It's not that serious.
The whole thing. I just feel like he talks about the other men in her life as like owning her and being bad for her. And it's like, but that's also you.
Yeah, you want to own her.
Okay, also, so the whole fucking movie, she's dying consumption. At the very last scene, when like 5 seconds before she actually drops dead, he's like, she's literally dying, trying to sing to him. And then he's like, what's wrong? Bitch, she has been dying.
She's clearly dying.
She's been dying this whole movie.
Also, straight up, she told you she was sick.
But like, he does not care.
He doesn't fucking believe her.
He doesn't care. He doesn't believe her. She looks horrible. Whenever she has her little like blood cough, she looks awful. She passes out. He's so concerned with like her. Like, I don't think he's even like in love with her as a person. He's in love with the idea of her.
She's part of the lifestyle that he fantasizes about.
Yeah, and it's like she's not even. That's why I'm like, I don't know. Is this romantic? Like, to me, it's.
And
just
they're having fun. It's like sneaky, and he gets to like be competitive with this other guy, which honestly, like, fine, whatever. But I don't know. He really tested my patience.
Yeah.
In general, like.
And you have the Duke, who is like slimy, but I'm like, I don't know, dude. He wants to like.
He's being straightforward.
He says so many lines that are like, all Christian has to give you is love. Like, I'm offering you like security and like a life. And okay, this is just me. But I'm like, okay, well, if she just from the beginning was like, yeah, let's enter into this arrangement. And then if he was like living with her, he'd be like, whoa, you're actually fucking sick. Let's get you fucking help. I don't know. I don't think there's like a
I
cure.
don't know. Maybe he would have dropped her though. Like if she was going to die.
Maybe. But I'm like, okay, so I will say in the musical, the one that I saw, I screenshotted because I found the actor who played the Duke. Okay, first of all, the Duke was hot. This is who played the Duke.
I mean, yeah. Very good looking.
He could get it. Okay. So I'm sitting here
and you're like,
I'm like, excuse me? Not only was Christian not Ewan McGregor in the stage play, you had a hot Duke who's like, and you know, the Duke says in the play, like I've only seen it once, but he's like, I'll buy you an apartment. You can live there. You can have your friends over. Do whatever you want. You just have to see me once in a while. She doesn't even have to.
That's a sick sugar.
Yeah. She doesn't even have to like be with him. He just like wants to take care of her. I want to pay for your life and get you an apartment, give you all these things, and like once in a while we fuck. So Baz Luhrmann said he was inspired by the story of Orpheus and Eurydice.
Eurydice.
Also, people have found similarities between the opera La Traviata, which is about a man falling in love with a courtesan, and then she is like sick and they want to be together, but it's like society's like, no, you can't be with that. And then they have like a tragic love story and then she like dies.
Is La Traviata the one that Rent is also pulled from?
No, I think that's La Boheme.
La Boheme.
Yeah.
They're very similar in my brain.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. The way in which this movie presents sex work is honestly real.
Yeah, it's really interesting because like it managed some like the weirder emotional stuff. She never seemed to like regret doing the work that she does. And like she was seen as a somewhat multifaceted character, like maybe a little flat because it was all through the lens of like Christian's experience, but like
she exists through the male gaze, like very much, and she kind of just exists as a pawn for like their own things. Like Harold wants the Moulin Rouge to be this big respected theater. The Duke wants a hot piece and wants to like fund art.
Christian's looking for his manic pixie dream courtesan.
Exactly. And then it's like, well, what does she want?
She seems like she just wants to perform and be beautiful and have fun and
not die. Of course, the woman who just exists for all the men dies. And then he finally writes a story and it's about like their love at the end. And like she ultimately inspired his like, I mean, I guess he was writing the play with the play within the play, but like.
I guess. But the movie is him writing their love story.
Right.
And I was just like, hack.
Yeah, kind of a hack. Like when I was younger, I was like, oh, like I wanted true love and like boys and all these things, and like I thought it was so beautiful. They're like tragic love story, and I'm like, ugh, no one wants to actually help her. Like
it was pretty icky.
Everyone just uses her, spits her out. Meanwhile, she's like gorgeous and talented and fun to be around, and she just gets the fucking shit out of the stick.
But it has that layer of reality where like, especially if you're thinking about dating and romantic relationships, there's always this like, I want to take you away from this life.
Yeah, the Captain Save yeah,
like they're attracted to you and what you do and how you do it, but they don't want you to do the work. Or you know, a client wants to have you be
they kind of they just want to keep you for themselves, and it doesn't really matter what you want at the end of the day. Like these kind of characters, this kind of like archetype, this character is just like a catalyst for like the three men in her life. So Christian's a third, the Duke, and then she dies, and like I guess gives people's lives purpose except for her own. I just can't believe she's like sick as a dog going around doing all this stuff, and no one
she should be singing if she's fucking coughing up blood.
She should be. I don't know. I'm like I listen. I don't know the ins and outs of tuberculosis, but I'm like they could have done something. They could have done anything.
It was the 1800s.
I don't know.
What could they have done?
Well, I don't know. The Duke has money. Like, I don't know.
I think he would have dropped her if he found out she was sick.
Comment down below.
But also, it's like, of course, the sex worker is ill.
Of course, because she's a whore and she's like being punished for being a whore.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe it gives. Is like
after all of this, Christian goes up on that motherfucking stage and he throws money at her when she's performing.
That was disgusting behavior. How quickly it turned from him verbally assaulting her during her like star performance. Like,
she's like dying, running around, she's trying to get on stage. Like, now I've paid my whore.
Wait, he fucking sucks. How could you possibly turn and love him 5 seconds later? Like, that's insane.
Like, that's an abusive
insane. He's a fucking piece of shit.
In the musical, he gets the gun and he holds it to his head and threatens to kill himself.
Ugh.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
It's so ick.
I hate him.
It just gives me such a sour taste in my mouth. When this is like a musical I used to love so much, and I was just like, I just want like glamour and like love and beauty and like the bohemian lifestyle and all these things, and like now I look back on it and I'm like,
I mean, you got the things kind of better than they were advertised.
That's true.
Like,
I feel pretty good about my life.
Like, you got a lot of you know, all that, and you're not dying of consumption.
Not yet.
You know what? If you were, we put you on bed rest.
Thank you. Any like last thoughts on the movie?
I was watching the whole movie while getting ready. And the 2 notes I wrote: Amazon, general trivia, Nicole Kidman wears a wig throughout the movie, and Ed Ball wishes they could. Those are the only notes I wrote.
Those are very good notes.
It was fun. Thank you for making me watch it. I do really enjoy the production value. Like, although Baz Luhrmann as an auteur is not necessarily like my taste, I do think it's really fun.
I think it's really fun. And I think like Nicole Kidman is like genuinely so fucking good in it.
Nicole Kidman made that movie. If someone didn't go like over the top, I think it would have been truly trash.
Yeah. Okay. I'm so excited to talk about this next movie. Kitty, tell us about our second film.
The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas from 1982.
Starring Dolly herself.
Miss Dolly. Dolly Parton. And Burt Reynolds, who honestly was very fun.
He was so good in it.
Their chemistry was great.
I loved it.
Did you love it?
So much.
This was your first time.
This is my first time seeing it. I am obsessed with it.
I haven't seen it in like 10 years. And honestly,
so you'd seen it before.
I'd seen it in high school. And I'm like, honestly, I like it more. So, some stuff about it. It's an adaptation of a Broadway musical that was in 1978. That was based off of a real life story.
I figured it was because of the ending.
It's directed by Colin Higgins, who wrote Harold and Maude and also wrote and directed 9 to 5. Some backstory, because I know you like facts. Nicole Kidman wore a wig in Moulin Rouge. Also,
I've never worn a wig.
The director was openly gay.
Really?
Yeah, and unfortunately, he passed in 88 due to AIDS-related illness, which just kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But the Colin Higgins Foundation was established in 1986 before he passed that provided support for gay and transgender youth. Some people that cite his writing as inspiration are like Judd Apatow, Seth Rogen, Wes Anderson, who is my favorite, and Paul Feig. And when they were marketing it, the movie, the word whorehouse was considered obscene. So in a lot of parts of the US, they started calling it the best little cat house. And a bunch of places, they just couldn't advertise on TV, like flat out.
Wow.
Or like if someone was talking about it on TV or the radio, they would like best little... or just like bleep it. Like they couldn't say whorehouse.
It's interesting why they just wouldn't say like best little brothel. I mean, a whorehouse to me sounds way better. Like I love it. Yeah. But it's so risky, it feels.
I know. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But it was a very unabashed movie. And I imagine the musical was the same. They're just like, this is a fucking story. I loved it so much. I loved that it was like the most like decrim justice for workers.
It's so progressive.
It's so fucking progressive.
The fact that it came out in the 80s is like, well, early 80s, 82. Yeah. Is so wild.
It was so fucking progressive. It's so pro sex worker.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen anything that's like that pro sex worker.
This is like the best representation. Maybe not like the realistic because it is a musical, but like best like
it's a little like idealistic.
Yeah, it's very idealistic, but it's like the best like pro sex worker, pro decrim rights movie I've ever seen.
They even mentioned, like, I took a quote. I wrote a lot of quotes because I was just like blown away with what people were saying when they were talking about like the controversy that was happening. They're talking about how here are some people against the whorehouse trying to get shut down. Here's some people against pro. And they listed that there's a group of feminists like showing up to support decrim legislation that was already being considered in the state Senate. And I'm like, that's crazy. They literally said decriminalization.
Okay, so do you know the whole backstory of the actual story it was based on? Because I didn't like look into it too much.
I mean, it's pretty like vaguely like there was this brothel in Texas outside of a small town, and for the most part the community supported it, and then sensationalized news, or not even news, like entertainment television,
right.
Like
kind of like TMZ
tried to get it shut down
due to like a moral
it was a moral panic about it. It was just bullshit. They were causing a problem that didn't exist for the most part. Maybe there were some issues, but like from what I could tell, it was like, obviously it's not like a happy-go-lucky musical vibe, but like they were operating fine.
Yeah.
And in the movie, like every couple minutes I was just so surprised with how lovely everyone was. Like Dolly Parton is the third person to own the chicken farm.
Yeah. Wait, but why is it called the chicken farm?
Okay, so the Best Little Whorehouse in Texas is a brothel in Texas that had lasted, I think, since like the turn of the century. Like it
was like the 30s. That's
it was in like you know what, they talked about World War I, and at some point it was during the Great Depression that clients weren't able to really afford services, so they began to do barter, and people started bartering a single chicken for a
lay for a lay.
It was so fucking
stupid. So stupid and funny. And they like pan out like the first like montage of the movie, and they have like just a field like
just a field of chickens. And I'm like, amazing. We need to insert the look at all those.
Yeah.
And they're just talking about how like this is a woman-owned business.
Yeah.
And it's handed down generation from owner to worker. And Dolly is the owner once we hit the 80s.
She's like the heart of the town. Like,
yeah.
They make a big deal of like they pay their taxes. That's like a big repetitive
like fine
thing.
Whatever. But she does a ton of community
But
service.
yeah, she does like extra community service with
down.
the money. Oh yeah,
I wrote it down. So with their profits, first of all, they bought uniforms for the Little League team, which is so fucking cute. And like there's a scene where she went in to pay that to, I don't fucking know, someone at the city or whatever. And one of the moms from the team is just like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like everyone's just so sweet and happy. She paid for a pool, a community pool. She supported a hospital fund, so I think she like donated money to hospital, community pool, Little League. Like she takes care of her community takes care of her. They keep on talking about how like it's good business for the city, like,
right? They're like, not only is it good for the city, it's a necessary job.
They literally said necessary.
Like doing the act of sex work.
It made me think of you so many times because so many women were like, honestly, thank God my husband goes to the brothel.
My Frank, when he was alive, used to go up there every Saturday. I took it as a blessing.
You know when you see a movie and you're just like, was this made for me?
Right? It was so good. It was so fun.
Okay, and also like the musical production. Like I thought the songs were super fun. I love the choreography. The dancers were so good because like all the brothel workers were like also like really good. There was like a dance ensemble.
Yeah.
They were doing like high kicks and had their cute little outfits.
Oh yeah.
And so basically, so the sheriff is what's the sheriff's name? Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds
plays the sheriff.
Sheriff Burt Reynolds.
Sheriff Burt Reynolds. And
he was so fun.
So him and Mona have this like little secret affair. They're just like sneaking around, but they're not like, they don't have partners. They just like don't want to be open about their love. It's kind of like their own secret little thing.
Yeah, it's their fun little thing that they.
He's so supportive of her business and
he
who
loves
she is
her.
as a woman. He like loves her so much, and they're so goofy and cute together. They have like the cutest scenes and like the best chemistry.
They go on little dates.
And so basically like the sensational TV person decides to just attack the brothel just for ratings, pretty much, just for no reason, because it's something to do.
Yeah.
And Burt Reynolds is like, hell no, like I'm gonna protect my woman's business. And like they're basically being like, we might have to shut down the brothel. So then like the whole thing turns into like, how do we save this business?
Yeah, it's fighting for the brothel because this TV show is all about like exposing bad businesses and bad business practices. So they're like exposing the brothel for being bad, but they're also like, oh, you know, like corruption with the sheriff and the government and blah blah blah, whatever. They're like, why is the sheriff protecting this business? And like, yes, he loves Mona, the owner, but also like everyone seems to really care about this business and the women working there.
Even like the sex is like so joyous.
The sex is so silly and
the choreography, like, you guys, please go watch this movie. Like, it is so good.
Yeah, the sex
I
is
had so much fun.
Happy. There's only like one like kind of problematic thing. They have like a very like mammy stereotype.
I was gonna say, the mammy stereotype
that was
not
pretty fucking rough.
That was pretty rough. And it was like mostly white people.
Yeah,
there was one Asian worker.
I was gonna say there was one Asian worker, and it was like, wow, I finally like kind of get 80s style because she looks so cute.
Yeah,
I've never really been into like the 80s aesthetic. Then I saw her, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, well, because like they don't really show a lot of people of color usually.
One black worker.
Yeah, so it's like it wasn't progressive in that way.
No,
but for the subject matter, I thought it was just so darling.
I don't think any women were physically attacked.
No, they had some lines about some weird kinks and fetishes too. Yeah. Like one of like some other politician got like caught at the brothel. Yeah. And this woman was like feather dusting him.
Yeah.
And then this like group of guys are talking about, they're like, I don't care if you want to get your ass tickled. What's wrong with that? And, like,
and they were talking about how like pimps are good for nothing and you don't need them.
Oh my God. Yes. In her song,
so
when she's singing about her business and how pimps are shitty and like how she runs her business. Dolly Parton. I mean, who doesn't like Dolly Parton? She was
effervescent.
She was so good. Her little giggle, it would bring me back to life if I was gonna pass away. Like she is just so fucking darling.
She was such a serious businesswoman, and everyone fucking respected her.
Everyone respected her, including her love interest,
who could have been a dick.
I will say he did have the calling her a whore scene, just like in Moulin Rouge. Course. There was a little Christian from Moulin Rouge moment when they got in a fight, and he was like, "Well, it's better than being a whore," and I was like, I felt attacked. I was like, how could you say that to
mean.
Dolly?
That was pretty mean.
That was really mean. They were arguing, and she did say she was gonna like close down the brothel for a night, and then didn't, and then they got in trouble, and it was like this whole thing.
If we're thinking about like how are sex workers represented, I was blown away.
Same. Okay, I'm glad you had that too, because I was like watching it this morning, and I was like, oh my god, how have I never seen this? Why aren't more people doing this musical? Like, it's so good.
So good.
Like, I want to do this
so
musical.
Fun. That's what I was thinking. Is like, okay,
let's do it.
It's time, right?
It's
time to bring this back.
Someone needs. I can totally
so
see it
fun.
at Oasis.
I think we could do it.
It was just so wholesome. It's just so weird to see like sex work, brothel workers, like just so respected. So I had to stop because I was like, Burt Reynolds, like the way he talks and moves.
Yeah.
He totally gives me Pedro Pascal.
Are you fucking kidding? Because when I was telling Bex I was watching it, that's literally what they said. Recast Pedro Pascal, but then who's our girl?
My first casting was Lady Gaga.
I hate it so much
because she can sing and she can act.
She can sing, and also she'll be fucking crazy.
No,
on the
but I thought
tour.
of the better one.
I think there is a better one.
Taylor Swift.
No.
Think about it, because she's like country vibes, and like she would bring so much attention to like the decrim movement and like help like destigmatize like sex work and brothels. Think about it. Also Miley Cyrus, because Dolly
that's
Parton,
what I'm thinking is like Miley would be really
I think
fun.
Miley would actually be really good.
Miley
but I'm just
would be
thinking
really
of like
fun.
Taylor Swift is like more of almost like a political
Function,
casting. Like a functional thing. But she's like kind of too, I think she's too like model-y.
She's a little too she's a little too sanitized.
Yeah, that's why I think it would be like it would like break the news cycle. I think now thinking Miley Cyrus though,
Miley
because
Cyrus
like Dolly
really...
Parton is like her like godmother. Like they have the family relation already.
Okay, wait. I have a bad pitch.
Wait, I want to hear it.
Sydney Sweeney.
Okay, tell me why I actually thought of Sydney Sweeney too. We have the same brain. No, like Sydney Sweeney, but when she's like dressed up in that Euphoria scene.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my god, I had also a Euphoria moment when I was watching Whorehouse in Texas. The TV guy, he decides to like go after this whorehouse, and he doesn't really like tell anyone, but he like has this whole musical number.
Yeah.
That's like catchy.
Oh my god, wait, is this musical about us?
Because then all the workers are watching TV, and then he's singing about this whorehouse, and there's like, wait, is this fucking play about us?
And imagine you're watching TV.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, just hanging out, and suddenly some man is singing about how he's gonna take down your business.
Yeah, you're like, wait, how do people even know about this? Like, Instagram doesn't exist. How did people find out about this whorehouse? It's the 80s. I feel like maybe in like earlier versions of the script, or maybe in the stage play, that like the guy had some kind of past at the brothel. Because I'm like, he's sketchy as hell.
But he also seems gay.
That's true.
He's such a drag king. I was dying.
Him
getting
the corset and the shoulder pads and the wig.
And then
Wait,
this is why we need to do this.
Burt Reynolds
we need to do a stage.
Snatched his wig and punch him in the face.
And that's true. That's part of the true story. Look, Snatch Game. Like everything Dolly does is drag.
Every time I learn something new about Dolly Parton, I'm like, yeah, you are God, probably. I'm gonna say I think I like that movie better than Moulin Rouge now. I never thought I would say those words.
Both were really fun. Both show interesting, closer to reality, but still musical reality, like sex work depictions.
So you brought a little something.
Oh, I did. Should we do it?
Let's do it. So in Moulin Rouge, oh, by the way, we didn't even talk about one of the best parts of Moulin Rouge. Padam herself
Miss
plays the Green Fairy, Kylie Minogue. I'm the Green Fairy. Okay, part one part absinthe, 1 sugar cube, 3 parts ice water. Okay, wait. So it's 1 part. Oh my god, are we doing science experiments? Let's do half an ounce and then do 1.5 ounces of water. Okay, pour absinthe in a glass, place sugar cube on top of spoon, and place spoon. Oh, and then we pour the ice water over the sugar cube.
Okay.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. That's so bad.
It's not better with sugar
You guys,
and water.
absinthe is not good. Why do people drink that?
This was a gift from someone, if you can believe. I don't talk to them anymore.
Good. They hate you.
I feel hated.
Rate, review, and subscribe, please. We did just drink this absinthe for you, for the vibes, for the aesthetic.
Look, the Green Fairy, she's a cruel mistress.
The Green Fairy is a liar. It was not good.
Lying bitch.
We love you. Happy Valentine's Day. Watch these movies. Let us know what you think. And then if you have any suggestions, any movies.
Sex work movie.
I'm going to throw up. Just kidding. I'm not.
Well, I'm going to pass away. So let's just get it over with.
I'm going to pass away. Love you. but I was like, maybe I should get tested for TB because I was like a super nanny for like a decade.
Wait, you never got tested for TB watching kids?
No.
That's crazy
Should
to
I?
me.
Comment down below.
No, you should do it.